Good evening, everybody. Merry Christmas and all that crap. It's kind of been a shit year, hasn't it? Like 2016. We lost a lot of great artists, especially David Bowie and Prince, my personal favorites, really. And I don't know. It hasn't been that groovy. So you guys sent me some questions, and I thought I'd answer them on camera as a sort of delightful Christmas bonus. I've only glanced at the questions, so I don't really know what I'm in for, but I thought I'd make this as spontaneous as possible. So let's have a look. The first question, some of these are in Dutch, so I'll translate them into English to reach as wide an audience as possible. Chris P. Dekker, the famous chief editor of the magazine The Bassist, asked me a question. The first question is, what kind of conditioner do you use? Well, I don't know. You have a sec? Oh wait, it's I found it. It's by Dove, product placement, and it's for hair therapy. It says. I don't know if I need hair therapy. I probably need another kind of therapy. I wonder if I'm even framing this shot right, and you're just looking at the lower part of my face. Which would be a real miss, of course. A real loss, I should say. James S., our beloved James S., he asks a question. Oh no, he just says, what the fuck, in response to Chris's question. And I thought it was quite a valid, interesting, surprising question, you know. There's no need to be judgmental, but I have a feeling we'll be in for some more judgment with good old James here. James S. asks the question, why are you such a Dutch retard? Well, James, I kind of like James. He's rude in a way that makes you think that underneath it all there beats a good heart, and he doesn't mean that bad. So I can't get too mad when he insults me. It's more of a reflection of himself anyway. Ha 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 ha. I don't know why I'm such a Dutch reader. I guess I'm at least I know I'm dumb, right? Unless some people who think they're smart, well, they actually aren't smart. And I'm looking at you, hillbilly. How come you can't, and I'm not really dumb, of course, I'm just displaying some false modesty here to come up with a punchline to get back at James for dissing me. Well, I actually do kind of like him. Kind of. How come you can't finger tap worth a shit? I just never really found that technique that interesting in recordings, and I just never really practiced it. Oddly enough though, as though you sensed it into the future when you sent this question, I did practice some finger tapping today. But I'm not like a real Eddie Van Halen fetishist like you are. Next question, what's your fave Dutch beer? Well, I drink a lot of Heineken, but it tastes like piss. But you know, if you had a few, you won't really mind. My favorite Dutch beer is white beer, but I'm not really into all the beers, the brands and all that. I kind of Hoegaarden, but it's supposedly really crap according to the people more knowledgeable about that subject, like my friend Roy Geusingen. How often do you pay for sex in the red light district? You know, I never played, Freudian slip there, I never paid money for sex. It's not, it would go against my ego. I need to be loved, you know. I could see a scenario where I would go in there and make the woman fall in love with me, and she would do it for free, or she would ask for questions, but she'd feel ambiguous afterwards because she's like, oh, I felt something more here, something that I don't get with my usual customers, this guy has more to offer, he's into finding love in peculiar places, and I can see myself in that role where a girl would find me absolutely adorable and want to marry me, and I'd pay some money for that. Okay. Has your father disowned you for disgracing the family as a professional musician? And he says professional between brackets or whatever it's called in the English language. No, he hasn't disowned me yet. Corvin Sylvester, the famous singer-guitarist from CCCCCCC Grant or GGGGGG Grant. I think his band is called something like that. How long do you wear your underwear and when do you throw your garbage away? I'd like to know a date, place and time. This is a real stalker in the making here. Okay, I just wear them once when I go out. I like to be as fresh as possible for a possible female interaction in that way. And they're usually black because, you know, black doesn't show anything. And I keep as clean as possible anyway. And I smell like the angels, presumably. When do you throw your garbage away? Just once a week. I'm not going to tell you where or all that kind of thing because, you know, people can find things in there that are probably personal. Or not. But it's kind of creepy that you ask me all these things. No, I know you're just joking. Okay, Chris Dekker. Chris P. Dekker, I should say. How do you become a legend for beginners in 5 easy steps? Well, you have to give, I think, a little bit of a natural instinct for that. Some people, they go places and peculiar things happen because they relate to the world in an odd way. And one of the things that you gotta be kind of I'm kind of a shy person, as you can obviously see, but you gotta be kind of outgoing and open for strangeness and not flip out when a transvestite walks in, for instance. You gotta be not narrow-minded, and then when you really put in an open view into whatever you experience or could possibly experience, and kick yourself in the ass to go into it and not stay at home and watch your belly button. You know, things can happen that will create stories that circulate around you, and those stories become bigger and bigger and bigger. And before you know it, you're not really doing anything, and you're a myth. Like c'est moi, you know? But you wanted 5 steps. I guess the steps is like, be yourself, be open to things that are not like yourself. Step 3, create a symbiosis between the two, where you don't want to blend in. That's important with step 3. You want to create an interesting, loving contrast with your environment, a funny contrast, something that will make people go, huh? And then you'll get people who love you, who hate you, but at least they're talking about you. Step 4, maybe do something, like make music or movies like this. You know, you gotta do something. Probably, although look at some of these reality stars who don't do shit. And the 5th step is, of course, to be adorable. like myself. Just watch this video a few times and you'll get the hang of it. Marjolein Den Hooglander, the beautiful model, she asked me, how's your miniature packer these days? Well, if I answer this and say, it's a lie, it's huge, they say, everybody who has a small dick says that, you know. But if I confirm it, then they're like, oh, so he does have a small penis. So I really, either way I go to the left or to the right, I lose. Which is sometimes the way it is with women, generally, but not all. Some. But yeah, it's doing fine. James S. I like the way this girl thinks. Oh, sure you do, you little bitch. If you were a crayon, what specific color would you be? I'd be indigo, purpley blue, or bluish purple, like a deep rich blue, inky blue, like my heart. You know, I'm not even going to dignify that sort of out of character, weak kind of questioning, James. This is, I really expect some real hardcore insults, not this kind of do you like pink or not crap. But I like black. Like my heart. James S. If you had to get a tattoo, what would it be of and where would you get it? I get a tattoo of you on my butt, of course. How come you're just a fairy who hasn't gotten a tattoo yet? How come you're a fairy who asks me these kind of questions? Would be my response. James S. What's your fave Van Halen song? I don't really have one. And Van Halen album? I don't own any. I'm guessing you can pick an album. Oh, you know me well. Because you're a dickless turd. And don't know their catalog well enough. Hey man, you're asking the question when you already know the answer. Favorite Red Hot Chili Pepper song? Rank the Red Hot Chili Pepper albums. Favorite Red Hot Chili Pepper? I like This Velvet Glove. That one comes to mind. Favorite album? Probably Californication. James S. Are you secretly gay? Or at least secretly bi-curious? Be honest, you closeted fruitcake. You wish, you wish. No, I'm strictly heterosexual, but I have feminine things about me that might be considered somewhat gay or bisexual, which adds to my broad appeal, you know. When James asks, when can we have a UFC fight in the octagon? I've been waiting for this for like 15 years. Well, I do box, and I'll kick your ass. So you name a time and a place, and bring it. James S. I've said you sound like Donald Fagen of Steely Dan when you sing. I was talking about this with my friend Leif de Leeuw, who was here yesterday, and he did not see that comparison. I think, with all respect to Mr. Donald Fagen singing, I think he sounds a little bit like Donald Duck, so I'm not sure if I take this as a compliment. Do you hear that comparison yourself? No, it's strange to hear yourself and have an objective sense of it. I kind of have my suspicions when I'm singing in tune, and that's about as far as it goes. I can't really place myself amongst the other peoples and compare myself in that way. And other than I have a suspicion and like to cultivate the fact that I'm a lot different. You always want to be different. James S. How many STDs do you have? I have over at 3. I have the over under at 3. You're saying you have 3 STDs? I have none. Bas Vonk, have you given up on your hopes and dreams yet? No, never. James S. I've given up hope on Ray's dreams over a decade ago. Bas Vonk, only Ray is too stupid to realize his life doesn't have any meaning. Well, actually, I do realize that my life has no meaning, but like Socrates, he at least knew, here we go again, recurring theme, that he knew nothing or that things were meaningless. And you're one step ahead of the game if you realize that. I mean, do you guys know that your life is perhaps, you know, more meaningless than you'd like to admit to yourself? I mean, look around you. What's the meaning to any of this? You know? We're just like specks of dust in the universe, worrying about nothing. Here's a nice Christmas thought for you. Bas Vonk. Is it depressing to you that I got the girl? No. But she's a nice bird, I should say. I don't get really envious about other men because I think I'm great. Regardless of their accomplishments, I always think like, well, at least I'm great, so, you know. What does it matter that I have nothing in my life? At least I have me. Why haven't you committed suicide yet? Bas Vonk asks, which is kind of like so I know how to. I'm gonna respond to that like with this to that one. But I like him too. I think he's one of those guys where I enjoy his rudeness as well, because this guy is like when you go into a Hells Angels bar and they're like shouting at you obscenities. But you look into their eyes and like, this is a way of showing respect for them. I kind of look at him like that. But not committing suicide, well, Albert Camus, who I used to read and wrote texts about when I studied philosophy, not on the university, but with a bunch of elderly people. And that was my thing, and he asked a question like, the only real problem in philosophy is that the question like, why in this insane, meaningless existence, why don't we just all blow our heads off? And that's something I don't really have an answer to, because you'd think that it's stranger that people choose life in a way, but you know, I'd rather be there than not be there. You have a long way of not being there when you die, and you were not here for a long time before you were born, so this little tiny bit that you're there in the middle, I'd like to, you know, you have enough of nothingness, so let's have a little bit more, as much as possible, of that little something you have there. It's at least the possibility of something transcendental and at least joyous, and you know, there are beautiful things to experience. So maybe I did solve Albert Camus' problem there for you and the history of philosophy. Marjolein, the model, she asks again, you go dark. Oh no, she says to the boyfriend, you go dark fast, because she's his girlfriend. James S. How many of your own fingers can you stick up your butthole? Are you up to all fish yet? I've heard you've been practicing. You've heard shit, James. And then he asks, what are some of your fave TV shows? Did you watch all of Breaking Bad? I did watch all of Breaking Bad, and I liked it a lot. They say when I shave my hair short that I look like that. Is his name Aaron Paul? Or is that a transvestite? Anyway, conceptual continuity. I like that series, but I like my favorite is probably Twin Peaks from a while ago, and I'm excited that they're doing it again. That they're you know, filming a new the series again with David Lynch at the helm. James S. Would you describe yourself as more of a fart dipped in puke or puke laced with farts? James S. Do you still go to gym on a regular basis? I do. I go, I'm taking a little break at the moment, but I usually go 2 to 3 times a week, lifting weights. And when I get a little chubby, I run and eat a little less. And I've been doing that for a long time, on and off for 20 years, I guess. It's fun, you meet nice people, you have release endorphins, something to take your mind off of things. And you know, my age, it's not a bad thing to keep an eye on your health, and the aesthetic benefits are there, of course. Megan Lesmeister, can I ask you a question? What do you think of Chris P. Decker always wearing the same hat? I think it's like the beehive of Amy Winehouse. It's good that he has a real signature look to himself. It's something, he understands what it is to become a legend. I don't even know why he asked me that question, because he knows the little things, the ingredients that go into it. He has an innate sense of that. Maybe that's why we click. And the last question, Chris P. Decker, do you have a special technique with the rimming of men? I'm sorry, I like girls. Thank you for your attention. And Merry Christmas, ho ho ho. Bye. Where the fuck is the off button on this thing?